Morning folks, I'm Johan de Brute, Chatran Mounted Combat and Bushcraft. Welcome and I hope you enjoy. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at our emergency fishing kit. What we carry when we don't have our normal fishing rods and reels with us. Let's take a closer look. What we have in our fishing kit here is in this little box, and I carry it in this polyurethane bag where I can put it on my belt or it just chucks into my backpack. In this we have our tin, and very aptly fisherman's friend. That's what we're going to use today. We'll look at what's in there just now, and this is going to be our hand reel with our line bound up onto the stick. Now when we look at this reel that I have here, or the stick with our line on it, it's just a normal dowel rod, and our heavy duty braided line has been wound onto this reel. I've covered it with insulation tape just to keep it from unspooling in my pack when I don't want that to happen. Before I go fishing, I can just take off that rubber band holding it. I unwrap my outer layer of insulation tape and I have my line ready to go. In our little box we have the following items. We have about 3 meters of trace steel wire that we can use on the end of our lines if we are catching any fish that's got a lot of teeth that might abrade our lines, or if we're catching in water with a lot of rocks, a lot of tree stumps where we're afraid we might shave off that line at the end. We can use that. We can also use these for trap lines, traps and snares for other animals. We've got a small pocket knife in there with a thin sharp blade that we can use for cutting our line, for skinning and gutting our fish if needed to. We've got a couple of sliding sinkers, line weights that we can use in various configurations. We've got another little box with made up steel traces. On these ones you can see there's already a swivel attached to one end and a quick clip on the other end where you can attach your line and your hook on this side, or your lure that you're going to use comes this side. We also have another little box with bigger size hooks that we can use if we aiming to catch big fish, or if we are aiming to use huge chunks of meat or meaty bait. Then we have another little box with a collection of smaller hooks in there. Remember, we can always catch a big fish with a small hook, but we can never catch a small fish with a big hook. So it's always better to keep a good selection of smaller hooks in your pocket. We have a small little roll of, I think, about 6-pound breakage fishing line that we can use on the end of our lures. A couple of spare needles in here, various uses for that. Then we have a small amount of swivels with quick connector snaps on them. Easy to put on your line on this side. Easy to change hooks with this quick swivel, with this quick snap. Easy to change to a different lure, different artificial bait if you got that available. If we take a quick look at our reel, what we're going to use as a reel, as I said before, this is wrapped with insulation tape just to keep the line from unspooling while it's in my pack. When I take it off here, you simply open your insulation tape, I take a little stick so that I can reuse it, and I just simply unwrap. And you can see my braided line coming out underneath my insulation tape. Taken off. I can now reuse this when I'm done fishing, and here is my braided line ready for use. I have also made several layers of line and insulation tape, line and insulation tape, so that when I do open this and this line does decide to come off the spool, that all my line doesn't lie on the ground in front of me, but there's only small sections that can come off at any one time. Now to the question of what are we baiting our line with. The best is always to find natural resources, because those are the things that the fish are going to be looking for. And what we have here in this little stream of ours, we'll come and have a look and see what we can find here that we can use today. And here we see we actually have a little crab going there through the stream. Which is going to be ideal bait for our hand line. Our setup that we'll be using here today on this line, because we have a very small pond, the water isn't very deep, and we're not actually expecting very big fish in this water, we've used the sliding weight as a sliding weight with a piece of green twig as a stopper there. If your line does catch somewhere in a rock or on a log or something, that line will cut through this twig, the weight will shift down, and most of the time it helps with getting your hook loose from under the water. We've got about 30 centimeters, which might be a little bit long for this depth of water, of leader from that point. We've attached our small quick swivel, and we've got some of that white meat of that crab there on the hook. The movement that we want to have with our line is we'll keep our reel in our left hand with our thumb loosely on the line, stopping it from unspooling by itself. Now sinker will be in our right hand, and depending on how far we want to get it into the water, that'll depend how much power we put behind this throw. In this instance, where I don't want to go very deep, I just simply keep a light hold with my thumb on the spool. I shoot my line into the water. I keep my thumb on it to feel the pressure from that bite, and then we just wait. When we bring out our line to replace our bait, we can just simply wind it onto our spool again as it comes out of the water. There we go, ready for the next cast. We still have plenty of white meat on there, so it's not necessary to replace our bait at this point of time. So we can just chuck it back in the water and wait. When we are done fishing for the day and we've removed what is left of our bait from our hook, we can just simply unclip our swivel and take off that hook. So that we can put it in a safe place. The attachment as we have it here with the swivel and the sliding weight, we can leave on our reel as it is, hold it with a finger, and we get our insulation tape that we've left for this, and we just start wrapping it again. And there we go, ready for next time. We can just chuck this in our packs now. Our little box goes in there as well, and we're prepared to move on. Okay, we're done fishing for the day. You can hear the cattle coming by on the other side of the river, so it's time to return back home now. Our fishing kit is packed and ready to go. Remember, this is not just a fishing kit for emergency situations. This is something that you can keep tucked in your backpack when you suddenly get to a pond, when you're out on a weekend trip and there's suddenly a patch of water where you can actually fish. Always something that you can use. What we're using here at the moment is a heavy duty line. I think this is about 25-pound breakage. We are not trying to be sporting at the moment, we're trying to provide food for ourselves. So we are using the heaviest line that's practical in waters like this, and we're not going with light line in order to do sporting fishing. Well folks, I hope that taught you something. I hope it helps. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below, and don't forget to subscribe and like our channel.